Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video, we are going to discuss about the newly announced medal exchange for One Piece Treasure Cruise for the second month of the year, of course. We are going to quickly talk about all of the units available and see if they are worth the medals. Always have in mind that the January medal exchange is still active for the last day today, so if you do not want any of these units, make sure you grab one from the January medal exchange if you miss it. In this video, we are going to be looking at this image made by Godot from the One Piece Treasure Cruise Discord. Link to join there is in the description, and big shout out to Godot. Let's begin with the limited units, the Valentine ones that cost 100 medals. We have Valentine, Mancery and Margaret. These units are not that good, they are specifically here for collection purposes. I have Mancery already and I have never used her, so if you like the units, their artwork or the characters, you might as well grab them because I do not know if they will ever return. But if you want someone else here, obviously prioritize him over these Valentine units, and also if you are very low on medals or want to save for another legend, definitely keep your medals. For the tier above, at 150 medals, we have V2 Rayleigh and Usopp. Now Usopp is an interesting case because his super evolution can delay the enemy through immunity. It is a decent legend, but for extremely specific situations. You are very rarely going to use or even need this Usopp. You can definitely play around with other units, so I would not really advise you to get him. He is pretty outdated at this point. His non-super evolved form is not even good, but I guess if he is the only legend in the game somehow you are missing, then you can grab a copy. But for V2 Rayleigh, things are way better. This is a decent unit even to this day, pretty underrated sub. He can give you an unconditional 2x ore boost and 3x chain lock. These boosts are also universal. He is a great Roger sub and he also can allow Roger to get his super type ability, and generally, if in a team you need a lot of utility units that cannot provide damage, Rayleigh can be a great way to add that missing damage to your team. Of course, there are more units in the game similar to Rayleigh, like for example V2 6-star Sabo, who can also give an ore boost and a chain lock, but for Sabo his ore boost is only for specific classes. Rayleigh's is universal. If you are low enough in HP, this Rayleigh can even provide more stuff in the form of matching slots and even damage reduction. But this part of his special you are probably never going to use. I haven't really found it helpful personally, but you never know. The ore boost and chain lock part though is pretty good, so if you have everyone over him or the other units you miss you are not really interested in or want, V2 Rayleigh can be a pretty decent pickup this month. Moving on to the 250 medals tier, we have Cracker and Bartolomeo with Cavendish. Cracker is still a good sub to this day, not a good captain, you are never going to use him as captain. He also has a pretty decent super evolution we discussed in another video for the Kizuna's calls. He can give you color affinity and a chain boost while also providing matching slots if you have specific slots like RCV, TND, MT and block. From the units we have seen so far, he also has the best and most unique support, simply because he can be attached to some Charlotte members like Smoothie, Katakuri and Lin Lin, and remove 3 turns of chain lock and chain coefficient reduction while also giving you a chain boost. That is a very good support if you need it, specifically in some Garb challenges as well. I think Garb challenge versus Whitebeard. So for 250 medals, getting a unit that can be a great sub but also a great support, I think it is pretty worth it. I guess we can also mention some drawbacks for this Cracker. His boosts need your captain to have specific classes in order to be provided, and he does not have any other utility other than the slot manipulation, but that is not a huge thing in my opinion. For Bartolomeo and Cavendish, I would say still to this day they can be useful, but they are not often used. As a captain, very outdated. Their swap is still okay, providing healing and damage reduction shield, a matching slot on themselves and an ore boost for themselves as well. They are driven focused, and driven is getting increasingly better, and on top of that they are a pretty decent driven attack booster but can also give you a threshold damage reduction, so if the enemy damages you in any way, you can totally evade it with Bartok Cavendish while also boosting your damage. Their swap can also find uses in non-driven teams, for example to help you in the duration of the quest, not exactly in a specific stage, but in a long quest with many stages like a GARP challenge, they can definitely be useful. But for 250 medals, I am not so certain, especially with other legends you might be missing and want to get in the future or even in this medal exchange. If they were one tier below this tier, for 150 medals, I would say absolutely worth it. For this tier, I'm not so certain, it depends on what other units you are missing. For the maximum medal cost now, 400 medals, we have 4 characters. Immediately I will tell you, stay away from the V3 Blackbeard. Not only is he not worth 400 medals, he is not even worth 250 in my opinion. We're not going to discuss about him, he's a meme. The other 3, all decent characters. Let's begin with the Strength Brothers, Luffy or V2 Snakeman and Sabo, both super type legends. Sabo is a beast against Dex quests. In every Dex Kizuna boss I'm probably going to use him in one of my teams, but he's definitely not a needed unit. He is able to provide color affinity in 2 different stages, which can be important, but again, only against Dex enemies. And then he can also give you a chain boost in the final stage while also providing super type. That is of course if he is a captain, and he's also an increasing chain captain, which can be good or bad, it really depends on the situation. But for 400 medals, he is very monocolor focused for me to tell you to absolutely get him. He is a decent unit, especially if you are struggling against Dex quests, but other than that, he's not going to be used in every team, he's not as universal, so I cannot advise you to get him, but if you miss him, maybe you want to wait until the end of the month to see the other exchange for March, and then you can decide how to spend your medals. That of course counts for every unit here, but then we have V2 Snakeman. When he came out, he dominated One Piece Treasure Cruise, one of the best units on release, maybe even ever. He was very strong, very popular, used by everyone everywhere. Nowadays, he has fallen off, not immensely, but definitely has fallen off, and it also makes sense with time. Still a good unit though. A great pairing with Sabo, both as captains, especially in a Kizuna Dex boss. A problem with this Snakeman is that he cannot manipulate block slots, only other type of slots and also not poison of course, to make them matching, which can be an issue because it can force you to either use a block removing orb support or another unit that does it with its special, which might be an inconvenience when team building. His orb boost is still superb, and the attack boost from the super type if he is captain at 2 times is still pretty decent. Both of them of course universal, just like his captain ability, which is the good thing about this Snakeman. His super type of course can be easily accessed only if you are using a Straw Hat in your team or Sabo and Ace, which is very easy, they have tons of units in the game. But I think with this Snakeman, it comes down to what good strength units you have in your box. Do you have good strength super type captains, or you are lacking in that aspect? That can play a big role for both Sabo and Luffy, because if you do have great strength units, and believe me they are many, then in that case maybe you can keep your medals to target someone you want more or need more to better your box, or you can get them to reinforce your teams or have more options in the strength department. For Snakeman, I would say he is still worth 400 medals for new players or newer players in the game that do not have tons of characters. He can still definitely lead you through quests. Finally, with 400 medals, we have Int Super Type Bonnie, an incredibly unique unit. She is the only unit in the game that can remove 10 turns of slot bind with her special. If you attack an enemy that you have color advantage over, she can give you a guaranteed RCV slot, which is matching because of her. She is also the only unit in the game that is able to remove Sailor Despair by 3 turns, without a limit break ability of course, with her super type. She can manipulate slots into RCV or even matching. She can give 100% defense down to the enemy, if the enemy does not have immunity of course, so tons of utility, and on top of that you get damage boosting. A high attack boost for int units and even a chain lock. which will get set higher the more RCV slots you have consumed during the quest. She can even offer survivability throughout the quest if you attack correctly and consume the RCV slots. As a captain, she boosts you more if you have an RCV slot, and she does not only boost int units, she boosts everyone, but of course if you are not int you get a lower attack boost. It goes without saying that all of this utility won't be useful to you in every single quest, but it is still good to have it available in one unit. Even then, her damage boosting and orb manipulation can be enough. Just for how unique Bonnie is, I would definitely say she is worth 400 medals. And that was my opinion on the upcoming medal exchange. If you want to see my thoughts on the January one as well, before the units leave the shop, you can check the video on the left. If you have any questions and want more help with your decision, definitely leave a comment down below and I will do my best to help out. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more in the future, definitely leave a like, I would really appreciate it, and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.